Welcome back to another video. My name is Stephen Foster. It's 2022. We're talking mobile photography, what you should invest in if you're looking to take your photography on your phone to the next level. Phones have gotten great, but these tips, these insights, hopefully are going to help you take better photos this year if you're committed to doing that on your phone. So with that, let's go. All right, so we're talking mobile photography. If you guys are new to this channel, I've been doing mobile photography as sort of like prosumer, getting into the pro world through mobile photography now for over a decade, which is kind of wild to think about. In one hand here, I have the Polar Pro Light Chaser Pro on the iPhone Pro Max. I also have a Pixel 4a here that's using a Moment case with a Moment lens and a little shoulder pod grip. Both excellent setups. I'll be talking about how I chose to sort of kit these setups out, accessories, apps, things that you need to consider if you're looking to take your photography actually to the next level. So first up, let's talk apps. Now there's two types of apps that you want to be thinking about. The first one is a camera app, and then the second being an editing app, which we'll talk a little bit more about later in this video. But when it comes down to a camera app, I would highly recommend looking at the Moment app, both on iOS or Android. There's a lot of information on Moment's website on how to use that app. I believe they have a tutorial out there for it. Using an app that will allow you to shoot in manual or control more of the camera's actual mechanical functions or software functions that are typically being done for you, both like on an Android device or an iOS device, can help you understand the process of making a photo better. It can also help you create a photo that's more your style and not just relying on sort of the computational photography that's going to be done by like an iOS or Android type camera app. Also, there's Lightroom Mobile. The Lightroom app is not just for editing. You also have a camera tool in there that allows you to have some pretty solid manual pro level camera features. But like I mentioned, you can do a lot, and most people don't realize you can do a lot more than I think a lot of people think in the built-in apps on both iOS and Android. I'll link down below a video that I did going through some of the things that I do to take better photos with my phone, solely using the built-in app, the built-in camera app on my phone, things like using grids, things like locking settings, all of that I will put in the description for you guys to check out. Now, I think one of the biggest, if not the biggest considerations to have when it comes to mobile photography is the accessories that you're using around your camera system. Typically the case is sort of what those systems are built around. Again, with like something like the Light Chaser Pro, everything is custom built for this case. So this grip will only work on this case. This filter system will only work on this case. That makes for a really slim and durable profile. But the trade-off is this only works on this generation of phone. If I go and buy another phone in a year or two, I'll have to completely replace it, or even further down the line, this setup is made for this device versus something like Moment's lenses and Moment's cases, and using a grip like the shoulder pod grip that I have here. The shoulder pod grip just uses like a tension spring in it, so it can fit pretty much any mobile phone. I've had this actually since the iPhone 6 Plus. Wild. Still holding up great. That spring still has a lot of tension, feels really secure on there. And these Moment lenses I've had for going on, I think, 5 years now too, which is pretty incredible. This is a 58 millimeter portrait lens. And you may be thinking, all right, in some of the new phones today, there's at least 2 lenses, maybe 3 lenses. Do I need another lens? What about filters? How should I think about those? And I think the answer is if you're going to get something like the Pixel 4a or a more budget phone, but you want to have more lens and focal length opportunities, getting a Moment lens is a great way to then kind of compensate for that. And then you actually have that lens for future iterations of devices that you buy, again, lasting 5 years, maybe longer. But I would recommend, if you already are going for a pro level phone, or really even most mid-range phones today will have at least 2 lenses. If that's the case, and that covers the focal lengths that you want to be shooting with, I I would highly recommend getting a filter. Something like the Lightchaser Pro has options for like CP, V&D filters. I really do think the CP filter is the go-to filter. That's what I use on my big camera here on the EOS R5 anytime I'm shooting outdoors in any kind of light, foggy, cloudy, definitely sunny days. If not, I'm using V&Ds, but I find my CP filter is the one I end up using the most. Both sort of brands that are in this space, Moment and Polar Pro, have options for both lenses and filters. Again, the Lightchaser Pro has a grip option. Shoulder Pod is a great option for grip on the Moment case. But at the end of the day, you should think about what type of photography you plan on doing. I think it makes a lot of sense that, hey, if you know you're gonna be shooting photos outside, maybe in the snow or over a lake or the beach, making sure that you're investing in a system that's gonna support you having a great filter solution, I think is really important. If you wanna be doing more portraits and you're more on a budget device, I think something like Pixel 4a with like a Moment lens on it is like the absolutely perfect setup, but make sure to keep an eye on just different compatibilities with different phones, because as phones get more advanced, that seems to be breaking some compatibilities with like larger sensors and lenses and different focal lengths with the filter. So always best to not assume that everything's going to always work with each other. Finally, let's talk about editing, because I think editing is one of those things that when you're first getting into photography, you may think, I'm just going to take a photo and I don't want to do a ton of editing. I'll just let it happen all on camera. I'll be a pure artist maybe. And this is a big thing to think about, even going back to film photography, is developing an image is part of the process of taking an image and making an image. Again, there's a lot of features that I see as underutilized by a lot of people getting into photography on their phone, mobile photography, and that's the built-in features that you have with the built-in apps on your phone, whether that's iOS or Android. You're already probably able to do a lot of things like adjust exposure, contrast, color. Again, I'll link that video down below on what I use as far as iOS goes to edit some of those photos if I'm just kind of doing something real quick in the Photos app. I do also have Lightroom and the Creative Cloud suite with both Photoshop and Lightroom. I did a Lightroom tutorial last year kind of showing a little bit of my editing process. I'll link that in the description below as well. You can check that out. That's both for desktop editing and mobile, but it'll kind of get you more thinking not just about the tools, but sort of what's possible and how to think about a particular edit. I'm also going to link down below a video that I saw that Aidan Robbins did, who's an awesome Pacific Northwest creator that, if you're following me, you should definitely be following him. He did this whole video on how Ansel Adams actually made a photo, not just taking photos out in the field, but also editing them using tools like Dodge and Burn, which you may now see in like something like Photoshop, but that was actually a manual process in the film lab in the dark room when you were developing an image. And I think thinking about some of those more analog techniques and how to apply them in a digital world, especially when it comes to mobile photography, can really help you develop a style, develop a craft, and your own sort of language around how you're taking photos versus just taking a photo with the built-in app with all the settings on automatic. You're going to produce a photo that probably looks like a lot of other people's photos, versus if you're taking the time to actually consider how you're exposing a subject, how you're putting a particular subject in focus. Again, using something like a creative filter, like a CP filter, V&D filter, any of these other types of filters. All of that is going to start forming an image that's going to look different than sort of like the default stuff that people are producing. And then as you develop that image in your editing process, that's how you create a signature look that is for you. I've said this in past videos. Gary Olsman and Maggie Taylor were two of the people that I sort of came in contact with probably 10 years ago now, who really challenged me through their documentary that they did, This Is Not Photography, about what editing a photo was and how to sort of make your own, how to make your own voice sort of speak through the image, how to make an image truly yours. And for me, the development process is just so integral to that. So make sure you pay attention to that. Again, I'll have a bunch of stuff linked down below for you guys to check that out. But that's the final piece I'll leave you with, is find photographers that you enjoy their work, and find ways to get exposed to sort of what they're doing behind the scenes, crafting their images. I guarantee you, any photographer that you probably enjoy is making a lot of considerations when it comes to the actual hardware of their camera, whether that's using filters, focal lengths, whatever manual settings they like to shoot in, along with their editing process and how they're actually putting together an edit. And I think when you see more of the process, sort of like how an image is totally made from start to finish, you'll begin to get inspiration and think about how you want to make an image, how you want to highlight certain subjects, compose certain subjects and certain scenes. And I think all that is really important to eventually making photography that is uniquely yours and something that you're really just proud of, excited about, and enjoy sharing with other people. So that's it. Those are my points on getting started in mobile photography right now in 2022. I think any phone that you probably have that's been made in the last few years is more than good enough. I tried to do this entire video without talking about like, this is the right phone to buy if you want the best camera. I don't think that's actually something that we need to worry about today in 2022. There's so many good phones, so many good cameras. I think the big thing is thinking about how you're going to capture that image both in software and hardware, and then how you're going to do your edit. Hopefully this gave you a lot to think about, and subscribe to this channel if you have yet to. I'm honored by all of you who already have. I've said this before, it's changed my life. It's been such an honor to have all of you here watching these videos, asking questions, talking with all of you in the comments or over on Instagram. Be kind both in life and in the comments below. Like this video, send good vibes across the internet. We'll do it again soon. All right. Later. Don't forget to hit me up on Instagram. I usually try to link my Instagram below in every single video along with my Twitter. I try to post stuff on both of those platforms more regularly, especially this year. And I would love to hear from you guys. I always love having conversations, whether it's about new gear coming out, new locations. I have a ton of excursions planned for the first half of this year before my new kid shows up. Wild. So got tons of fun stuff to do, and I will still be pumping out videos in the second half of this year. I think that's when we'll probably be doing more tutorials and things that I can do close to home. But again, just so grateful for all of you guys, and yeah, thank you.